You wanted it, you got it. Backed by popular demand, Lazor Beams. Featuring your hosts, BreakMan EXE and
Flashman EXE.
Tonight's topic, we decided to go a bit of a ranty route this time around. And it's actually a pretty good one for our grand return to the ELB column.
Well, about as good as can be expected from us, but
yeah, we kind of make this crap up as we go along.
Pretty much.
In any case, our topic tonight is the 10 most annoyingly difficult EXE bosses, in our humble opinions, that we have faced. And why.
And trust me, the list took some serious time, serious effort to put forth.
Oh, no joke.
We thought about it, and thought about it, and thought about it, and really no boss is impossible. And the EXE bosses all pretty much follow a set battle routine, so we had
Set, execute.
Exactly, yes, execute. So we had to really sit down and think about it, but just, this is an overall. This is not the first time we fight them or their highest level version. This is just an overall opinion, and we understand your opinions will differ from ours, but this is what we think. So without further ado, BreakMan, you want to go ahead and start us off?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and jump us right into the deep end here and immediately pull out the big guns. I'm going to say one of the hardest bosses I've ever faced, Duo, EXE4, thank you very much, end of thread,
yeah.
Win.
Duo, definitely. Duo's biggest problem is the fact that he is a moving target, which at that point in the series was like a cardinal level sin for a final boss.
Precisely. Not only that, but you know, you go up against him the first time, and he's moving back and forth, and you're like, oh, come on, he's so huge, I can hit him easily, and you have a half-millisecond window of opportunity with which to unload something at him. Unless he manages to stand still long enough for you to actually be able to hit him with something nice, and then he just smashes you in the face with Meteor Knuckle.
And most of the program advances, Navi summons, even standard class and secret class chips require obstacles, which he's going to destroy. They require something that needs a panel to stand on, which
there are none.
Have. And pretty much you end up having to come up with really unorthodox solutions to fight him, which makes him a challenge. And one of the battle chips I've found that works so well against Duo, especially if you're playing the Blue Moon version of the game, is Kanketsu-san, or Geyser, because nobody sees it coming.
Exactly, it's nothing but pits over there.
You don't have to aim it. You just throw it.
You lob it. You've got a 2 out of 3 chance of him actually being damaged. Again, yes, assuming his
absolutely his little light is on. You know, if the Duo traffic light is red, you can go. It's opposite world. Boo. Yeah, that was bad. That was bad. Okay, I admit.
And it just gets worse from there. You got to go through the game 4, 5, however many you are masochistic enough to do it, and he gets harder every time until, of course, he peaks out at Duo SP, and even then he's just faster, meaner, and more ouchy.
And he hits harder because he's a bully. Duo's a big bully. We don't like you, Duo. Don't come back.
He'll come back in a few hundred years, so he claims.
And we don't want your Gigant chips anymore. We'd like some new Gigas, please.
Please, yes, thank you. Well, assuming we get a new game.
Yeah.
On a side note, who can foresee him returning for Ryusei series? Raise your hand. Yeah, I thought so.
Yep, hands in the air.
Duo. Just what else can you say about him? I mean, he is absolutely disgustingly evil. It hurts me. It really does. It
really does.
We go from EXE3 with, you know, fighting against Proto or Alpha, whatever you want to call it, on which side of the world you are. And, you know, that was a tough fight, but once you got past his, damage-absorbing, Yellow Devil-like exterior, or actually that would be more accurate to say the Green Devil, my bad.
You could just stand there and pour tornadoes into him and be done with it.
Exactly.
That was the beauty of virus armor.
And you go from that to duo.
Exactly.
The shock is so great, especially considering the change up in the way the battle system works for EXE4.
And the visuals, the sprites, everything. EXE4 honestly felt like a new series. It felt like the start
that's a
of
rant for
new.
a different time, though.
Oh, no joke. Yes, absolutely. We could go on EXE4 for hours.
But bottom line, duo, not fun. Definitely ranks high up there among my personal top 10 hardest bosses in the entire flippin' series.
Absolutely. No doubt about it.
Alright, go ahead and give us one of yours off your list, Flash.
Awesome break. Okay. Call me weird for saying this. I have never found Mistman to be an easy opponent.
Yeah?
Especially considering the fact, that when EXE3 came out in Japan, EXE Black followed it up, whereas here in America we got Blue and White at the same time. And White was the first version I played because I didn't know the difference, and I decided, well, this looks like a fun game, so I'm going to play it. And
for those of you that don't know the difference, the original EXE3 is our white version, and their EXE3 Black is our blue version.
And the blue version is considered to be the true version of the game, since it has an extra boss encounter, some different
that's all
ships.
I gotta say.
Yeah, and we're not going to go into much detail on it, but different style change. It was kind of like it was the EXE series first branch.
It was like EXE3
Yeah.
Remix.
Exactly, and it was the EXE series first branching into the multiple versions thing that other games have become so well known for.
Now, as far as Mistman goes...
Yeah, Mistman was a challenge because I had never, up until that point in the game, there had never really been any Navis that were as unorthodox. When you realize Mistman is not the giant purple thing, you're fighting the lamp. That's Mistman, and the purple Navi character is just a distraction. And it's
I always hated that.
Yeah, it's frustrating, especially because, up until that point in the game, I mean, we had been fighting bosses that didn't move, like Stone Man and Planet Man. They just stand there, and I'm not saying they're doing nothing, but they're at least standing still, and Mistman
giving you a clear shot.
Yeah, Mistman's just dancing around and creating things, filling your area with poison. Oh. And it's not like you have really any... It's not like he's elemental, so you can't even, hit him with wind or anything. He was a difficult opponent.
Exactly.
And, so you definitely wanted some really strong chips for fighting him.
And once you actually figure out you got to be targeting the lamp, it's still hard for you to... wrench
Get
your
near
attention
to it to hit it.
Exactly. You got to forcefully wrench your attention away from the purple hovering mist demon, only to realize, oh hey, I just got smashed in the face again with lasers.
Again, have fun getting your S rank, kids. You're
Except not
it.
lasers.
Yes, he doesn't. He punches you in the face with Cloud.
Exactly.
Still, I think I'd rather be hit in the face with Cloud than hit in the face with Tifa. Shot again. Alrighty, Break, you're up.
Okay, next entry. On my list... Yeah, I'm going to go back in time here and give us Thunderman from EXE2. Not his EXE4 version, which was infinitely easier, but I'm talking about the hovering, cloud-generating demon from another dimension. Well, I'm totally dripping like sarcasm and drama, oh the angst, but Thunderman. Good grief. Thunderman, EXE2. You go up against him and you're like, oh, okay, look, it's Elecman again. This is going to be easy. Except he's like Native American. Whatever. Going to be like totally... whoa. I just died.
It's humiliating when you lose your first fight against a boss. But...
Any boss, but,
yeah.
Thankfully, this guy wasn't a World 3 operator, or, you see game over like 4 or 5 times before you're actually able to get around the death that is damage-absorbing floating clouds that will chuck I mean, come on, his clouds, they float back and forth, going into your area. If they get next to you, they surround themselves with electricity, hitting panels on, all around them, all 4 panels in a cross direction, and you got to watch out for that. And then he'll stop and he'll like raise his arms or do whatever he does and generate freaking
lightning bolts.
Exactly, he'll generate the thunderballs that'll.
He was the EXE version of Dynamo Man. I mean,
pretty much. Dynamo Man was pretty. Except we didn't have copy vision to help us out.
No, and not only that, you don't have a good supply of wood chips, and
the wood chips that are in the game aren't that good.
No, they're really not, at least at that point in the game. I mean, you can't even use a Planet Man chip yet unless, you've got friends helping you cheat, and then why would you be having a problem with anybody at that point in the game?
Press select to delete all enemies.
Isn't that what, he uses in the anime? Oh, no, that was cold. That was cold.
Actually, that was shotgun and sword.
Oh, yeah.
I tried that. It didn't work.
No, it doesn't work. Woohoo! I'll radically delete you with the power of justice and friendship!
Crap.
Shotgun J.
I must not be doing something right.
Shotgun J! Shotgun J! It's not working! What do I do?
Throw 20 mini-bombs!
Oh, dear. Yeah, I just did... no. Not happening.
But seriously, and going after his V3 chip is just a complete chore in and of itself.
Oh, yeah, Thunderman is a boss that... Oh, and remember the first time you fight him, isn't that the point in the game where all of your chips have been stolen out of your pack? It's like...
I can't remember off the top of my head
if
you had gotten them back or not, but I want to say you're absolutely correct. The only chips that you have to fight him, I think, are the ones that are still in your folder.
Or folders, if you have 2 at that point in the game.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember I got on the internet and went virus busting just so I could get a placeholder chip to swap chips from folder 2 into folder 1.
Exactly.
There was nothing in my pack. I couldn't even pull any chips out. That was a nightmare.
What a fun scenario that was. Mm-hmm. But so yeah, Thunderman, Ultimate Evil in EXE2. That early in the series too. I mean, that was EXE2 was really the point that I think set the mood for the strategizing and whatnot of the battle chip folders from that point on. That was the first game in which we were forced to really cheese out our folders in order to get what we wanted. EXE3 totally compounded upon that, but EXE2 is the first game where we saw that happening.
I've always been a person who likes to see how far I can get in the game with the chips I get at the beginning of the game, the starting folder. EXE2, you're going to have a hard time doing that.
At any rate, what's the next one on your list?
Well, the next one on my list is a boss from EXE4, and the boss is Windman. EXE4 Red Sun.
Yeah, Red Sun.
Windman, yes. And though he does appear in Blue Moon and 4.5, but Red Sun primarily. Windman is... Wow, when I saw Windman, I was thinking, okay, this is going to be like Windman from like Rockman 6. He's going to be kind of slow. He'll hit me with pretty straightforward,
and you can slide under him, lols.
No, Windman was basically like the new Quick Man. I mean, he was fast. He hit you with things that hurt bad. And
very bad.
He shuffles you from one side of the field to the other with wind and fan. You have no way of avoiding that unless you throw up a barrier. And
the stuff that he throws at you, the stuff that you can actually get rid of, it takes like everything that you were saving for him, just about.
Absolutely, yeah. So you pretty much have to have a completely maxed out buster and lightning quick reflexes. It's like, honestly, it's like him shooting the number balls at you, but at like 900 miles an hour. I mean, you don't have... You have to just throw out whatever chips you've got and hope that they hit him in the backlash. Really, Windman is unfortunately another boss that requires time-stopping, program advances, knobby chips, your heavy-hitting stuff.
And see, that, I don't always like to do that. I don't, like... It feels good when you actually, cheese yourself out enough to be able to do it, but at the same time, I don't like having to resort to sitting there and button mashing.
Windman is no slouch, that's for sure. So what you got on your list, Break?
Next up on my list is another EXE2 entry, and keep in mind that we are not talking about the his reincarnation for number 5, but next on my list is Napalm Man.
Mm-hmm.
Napalm Man in EXE2, encounterable in the second area of the World 3 server after you beat the game once.
Spoilers!
Game facts, that's all I have to say. But you get to Napalm Man and you're like, wow, this guy is so cool. Like, he looks like Pain. You know, he's got like Trigun syndrome, man. It's got like one everywhere with pain and ultimate suffering.
Napalm Man was one of those bosses that preferred to do hiding behind viruses to have his bidding, kind of like Color Man. And so you're thinking, oh, so he's going to stay in the back row, and I'm going to get to lob things at him.
No such luck. He is quick on his feet.
Oh, yes.
Couple that with his later versions, where he's got his indestructible little Vulcan death rains popping out of the ground, like, almost quicker than you can move to hit him.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he uses those things as covers so horrendously, so cheesily.
Gator's not happening here, guys. Sorry.
No. You have to have the timing of a god to pull off gate magic on Napalm Man EXE2.
You betcha.
If you don't have Aqua Ball, your host,
oh yeah,
trying to S rank him on his V3 version, you got to have Aqua Ball. It's a requisite.
Absolutely, and not only that, I would go into the fight packing Aqua Ball and probably packing some Aqua 40s behind it to count, at least get it started doing some decent damage.
Exactly. Isn't his at V3 isn't his base hit points 2,000?
Something like that. Yeah, he's really high up there on the power scale. Elemental bosses have always had really high HP. But he's, because, I mean, when you stop to think about it, they really only have half that number if you're using their counter element.
Thankfully.
But, yeah, I mean, even still, not everybody can prepare for an elemental boss encounter.
Especially
not
one of that magnitude.
Coming. No joke.
I mean, he keeps you on your toes so bad. I mean, he's really good training, I guess you could say, in a sort of sick, twisted way, but dang if he doesn't make you work for your victory.
Absolutely. And his Navi chip boasts oh wow, this is a really potentially powerful, damaging chip, but when you stop and think about it,
if it hits,
it's super risky. It's riskier than Pharaoh Man, and you never know what you're going to get with Pharaoh Man. But moving on from there.
Moving on. What do you got?
Well, my next one is a classic favorite, and he is from EXE4, the legendary SparkMan.
Oh, man.
SparkMan is amazing because he is such a threat. He's one of the hardest bosses in the game, and he's not fast so much as he's basically, I guess I would have to relate him to kind of something like fighting Shadow the Hedgehog, the way he just warps around and you
flings
never
crap
know.
At you.
Exactly, he flings things at you and hides. And he's not hiding invisibly, he's not on the field. He's literally disappearing and teleporting away.
And by the time he actually reappears and you're like, oh, cool, I can attack him again, he's chucking something in your face which hurts with pain.
Exactly, and another elemental Navi, another high HP elemental Navi, but SparkMan is bad because they put him right in the Akihara network.
Oh, his random
network.
encounter?
His random encounter, yes.
Yes, the legendary Green SparkMan of evil.
Oh, and you're sitting there just hoping, against hope, that you can make it from one side of the network to another, especially in EXE4, where you have to do so much legwork.
You gotta hoof it everywhere.
Anything, yeah. You don't really get much of a choice. I mean, you just have to. The internet is your tool for. I mean, literally, you have to jog everywhere, and by the time you get the C slider, it's almost not even effective anymore.
Unless you have to brave the depths of the undernet.
The undernet, yes, to fight your respective soul unison. But yeah, honestly, it just SparkMan is a painful boss. There are not EXE4 suffers from a really heavy lack of decent wood chips. Not much else to say. I don't like him. I don't have an easy time fighting him. His battle chips are phenomenal. I mean, if you can get a SparkMan and you can level it all the way up, it's a sure prize. But
this is no time to run away, Lan.
Absolutely, that's the worst part about the bosses in EXE4. You can't run from them like you can in EXE5 or 6 or the other games.
They don't even give you the option to try.
No, that was a very, very, very critical mistake on the programming part. But it happens. What do you do? And EXE4 was all about the net battles. I mean, it was at that point in the game. It was the first. It had the most bosses in any EXE
definitely.
game. Up until that point, and probably if you sat down and counted them, EXE4 is definitely known for its heavy level of bosses. It's got some.
I mean, regardless whether or not they're official characters or just one-shot villains like I don't know, Crusher and the stupid little ghost chick and whatnot. I mean, there are a lot of way too many boss-type characters in that game.
Flav.
Lols.
Flav. Moving on from there, what you got, Break?
Okay, next up on my list is one of the evilest Aqua Element Navis ever, Bubbleman de Puku.
Oh dear.
EXE3 Bubbleman.
And I have no reason to fear Bubbleman, but that's because
you're Flashman. All I got is shield and their piercing chips.
And I'm too busy running from some girl with vines hanging off her back.
Lar.
Yeah, so Bubbleman. Oh dear. Bubbleman.
What can't be said about Bubbleman?
Yeah.
He's a coward.
Bubbleman is vicious because he won't even come out and fight you until you're almost dead.
Yeah,
I mean,
for his V3 or 12 or 9 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, oh, hi, Bubbleman. Well, I've got 3 HP. Please don't kill me. And that's a game you really need a good Alex style to get through. I mean,
what were they thinking? That was the most evil requirement they could do. I mean, sure, he's here. I'm running around for 5 hours, can't find him. Oh, well, you see, that's because you're not half dead. Sorry, more accurately, 3/4 dead. Well, poo sticks.
I'll put in my most powerful zap ring. Yeah, you do that. And as soon as we're done scraping you off the floor for a second run, and you don't want to give him an ice stage because you sit there and you're like, oh, it's ice stage. This is very, very slippery terrain, but you have to give him ice stage. You don't have a choice. Yeah, you don't have a choice. You give him ice stage because you have to have that 4 times damage. You have to have it. You don't really even get a say in it. Bubbleman is not a fun fight.
Bubbleman just no. I mean,
no.
That's one of those bosses that I got 1 copy of his chip and never went to fight again. I was so sick of him.
And you're just sitting there hoping you can get what you need out of the trader, only to sit
exactly.
there and realize, oh wait, I have.
If I need any more, please, I would rather dump in 1,005 flippin' Met guards.
And you sit there going, what am I going to do about his V4 and V5? Oops. Now what?
Lols.
It's back to the battle network for you.
Cool.
Yep. Oh, man.
Let's move on. I hate Bubbleman.
I think everybody does. Well, on my list, boss number 8 out of 10. I gotta say, I just gotta interject him. I know I've been on an EXE4 trend, but
there's a reason for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Wrapping up that trend, I've got Burner Man. I don't like bosses that hide behind things. Those are very difficult bosses. I'm pretty much look at me. I'm an up front. Move around fast, but don't hide behind
Seriously,
things.
give someone a run for their money, but I mean, come on.
Yeah, no.
Just come on. Burner Man is just plain ultimate evil. I mean, especially considering where he is in the game. I mean, you're not quite at the end yet, but you're not. You're far away enough from the beginning of the game. But they don't throw you a bone at all when it comes to him. He pulls no punches. He's blazing around the field. He's sending his twin burners. Getting caught in the middle of those, plus having to deal with his own attacks, that requires just, especially on his higher level versions, you're dancing like a fool in your flippin' molasses shoes.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, EXE4 is such a. It almost felt like a downgrade from EXE3, because I remember how fast you could move in EXE2 and EXE3. I mean, you could just blip all around the field in EXE4. I mean,
I
like,
loved
it. Okay, Mega Man, we're gonna move. 5 minutes later, what was that, Lan? I'm sorry, I was busy looking at it.
And see, that's really, the problem the problem with having a wireless connection, because you always got that lag.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
LOLs, jokes on a pet and controllers. I'm so clever.
Next.
I hate myself.
Number 9.
Number 9. I just have to. Circus Man. Come on. Circus Man. Just... My God, he's made of nightmare. And fail.
Out of nightmare. Yes, and fail. Circus Man is that kind of boss. There are bosses that are intimidating, and like, I'm Killer Man. I am visually intimidating. Look at me. I'm carrying around a giant weapon.
But Circus Man is more like Green SparkMan. I pray to not run into him running around the cyberwebs.
You go to sleep at night, and you wake up in the middle of the night, and you've just woken up from a terrible nightmare, and you look over and you see the reflection of a pair of star-shaped sunglasses glinting at you in the darkness.
And then you just realize, oh, I'm going to be raped, aren't I?
I am in the Gloom prison. It is circus time, and there is no hope for me. Bam. 78 hits. You're dead. Thanks for playing. Had a good time. And, I mean, man.
Circus Man isn't impossible. But he keeps you on your feet so freaking well, especially in his later versions, that you've got time to launch off attacks at him. But if he catches you, he's going to make sure that it hurts, and don't ever run away from me again, you little girl.
He's like an inflatable woodman. I mean, he spends more of his time in the air than on the ground, but he's constantly generating things in your area to deal with, so you don't even have anywhere safe to run. You're basically stuck dancing. That's what that fight is. It's dancing, and that's it. That's just it.
And then down comes the circus tent, and you did not press to the right or to the left quite fast enough.
And guess what? You have your Met Reflect chips in another folder.
Exactly. Oh man.
Totally 404'd. Well. Boss 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna need some time to recuperate from that. You better move on.
Boss 10. While Breakman recovers from his circus nightmares.
The hands.
Just calm down, Breakman. Think of your happy place. Think good thoughts. Don't think about the hands of death that are trying to crush you.
Yeah. Just. I'm gonna play Guitar Hero for a bit.
Okay. Well, anyway, boss number 10. This was kind of a toss-up. Actually, it did come down to a coin toss, literally.
And keep in mind that these are in, like, no real,
logical order, so it's not like we saved the hardest for last. I think, actually, we started with the hardest.
Yeah, pretty much.
But boss 10, without a doubt. I have to interject. I would be offended if this boss was not in here. Cloudman from EXE5.
Ooh, good one.
Cloudman is another elemental boss, and Cloudman is definitely, he follows the trend of bosses I don't like, hide behind things and put things in your area type boss.
Yes, absolutely lovely.
like a Thunder Elemental version. He was honestly the sick and twisted amalgamation of Kingman and Thunderman.
Seriously?
I mean, he really was. He stays in the back, he fries you, he puts clouds in your area, he puts clouds up as barriers. You have to shoot them and they'll come back just a few seconds later.
Freaking
so you pretty much
ink black whirlwind of destruction.
Now, if you're willing to cough up a few HPs off of your total, if you can use a Dark Lance, or you can hope you're really good with a charge shot if you're playing Team of Colonel.
There you go.
Otherwise, I mean, otherwise, Tomahawk is basically your hope for fighting Cloudman. And I love him. He is my favorite character as far as classic characters go. I love Toadman, but I gotta say, don't take Toadman into a fight with Cloudman. Seriously,
man.
Think about what you're doing. Don't do it. It's not worth it. There are better uses for him. Don't waste him on the likes of Cloudman. Ugh.
I do have to say, though, at least we had kind of a better draw of wood-based chips to work with for a change.
EXE 5 definitely favored the wood-based chips by far and away. It was obvious too. I mean, it was really obvious.
Cactus balls aside, I mean, there's a lot to work with, and you really have to, if you really want to get.
If you're good with aiming, you could line up a pretty decent shot with a woody nosed chip.
Exactly.
You'd have to pretty much forge a path for it first and be quick
and
about it.
That's the problem, and that's what gives it the throwback to Thunderman and all his ridiculous evilness.
Yeah, you pretty much have to clear a path to Cloudman
and pray that he doesn't fill it right back up again.
Oh yeah, and Cloudman has SparkMan syndrome in that he can actually drop out of his area and hide in a giant thundercloud in yours. And while he's very difficult, you really just have to be quick about Cloudman. That's all I have to say about him. Just be quick about him and be done with it, because you really just don't get a choice.
Before you're annoyed too badly.
One of the problems EXE 5 had too was that it really did force you to fight the bosses so many times.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to fight Cloudman so many times, and if you miss any of his chips or you want to upgrade his SP chip to do some decent damage, you really, really, really are gonna. You have to master EXE 5. I mean, I'm playing it through right now. It's actually been a private goal of mine to completely and totally slaughter Team Proto-Man, and honestly,
good luck with that.
Yeah, I've pretty much done just about everything. I've leveled up all of my SP chips to their max, so I feel like that alone is an achievement.
No kidding.
But yeah, Cloudman, ladies and gentlemen, that's boss number 10. And as an aside, Break, would you care to tell them what kind of omaki we have for them?
Yeah, I know that some of you out there are gonna. Groaning and moaning. Oh, why wasn't X boss included in this? Oh, I feel cheated. Fishman should have totally gotten a spot in this list. Well,
yeah,
that's where we come into the Ring of Champions.
Yes.
Because there are some bosses that go, above and beyond the title of annoying to just downright evil.
Oh yeah.
So
I'd like to interject one boss that we didn't discuss, but just as an aside,
go ahead.
I thought of this boss, and it's from a game that you wouldn't even see coming, and the character strategy does change quite a bit. But I would like to interject just for a brief second. Anybody who has ever played Battleship GP, or as it's known stateside, Battleship Challenge, would know Ring is a very tough opponent, especially considering the jealousy battleships she camps on. Oh,
the jealousy camp and her flipping ring boomerang.
Oh, the ring boomerang, haha! And if you're standing on ice panels, have fun. Thanks for playing. But she's not elect, just the rings. Just like how Turbo Man isn't fire, but his Scorch Wheel is. And sitting there, and you've got. And picture this. You've got a powerful chip sitting in your slot in, and as soon as that meter hits over 50%, you are getting ready to jam that button.
Exactly.
And bam! You get jealousy.
Every freaking time.
Guaranteed. You need a slow gauge if you're going to take on Ring. I mean, you really do. There's no two ways about it.
The only reason, I didn't consider the BCC
Battle chip
bosses
challenge.
is because
Yeah.
if you set up your chips right, you can plow through anything.
Exactly. And the bosses, it's not like they can change their strategy. I mean, they're pretty much it's pretty much random chance. So you really just need to be good at the game. And the thing I will admit I like about Battle Chip Challenge is it's the only Rockman game you can play with a sub sandwich in one hand and a Game Boy in the other.
No joke. But
Yeah.
we got a little off topic.
Yeah, just a little, but I had to interject Ring just for honorable mention.
That's cool. I'll let you get away with it this time.
Oh, thank you so much.
Next time I get to rant and ramble about how I like colors or something, I'll call you on that later. But regardless, getting to our Ring of Champions.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Ring!
Steffu.
Okay.
Honorary position number 11 goes to, of course, the Black Shadow, the Caped Destruction, whatever the crap you want to call it. He's a fish, he's a type of guitar, he's Forte.
And that is his battle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For win.
Totally. Which version?
Personally,
All of them.
I'd say EXE2, but his later versions just get absolutely ridiculous. Like the random
EXE5.
encounter version in EXE5, anybody?
Oh, that's been a nightmare. Base Omega.
Well, that I had to do the freaking emotion bug to actually be able to ace him and get his chip.
Absolutely, because he's too difficult to full synchro on. I mean, you have to have the emotion bug. Either that or be Kaizo down with every HP upgrade you can get your mitts on.
Just about. I mean, like, EXE, when it comes to EXE 4, 5, and 6, like, some instances of the game you can just totally think to yourself, man, if I had the Kaizo going for me on my American copy of the game, this would be so much easier. I wouldn't be aneurysming every 5 seconds. But no, we didn't get that because apparently we're not cool enough to get little thin strips of paper with barcode things on them because it would be too expensive to recreate them. OMG.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, come on, toy trading cards. Seriously, you offend me. I mean, really, it's not...
Come on. We can use the plastic battle chips on our American copies of the game.
Yeah.
But we can't use our flimsy paper trading cards. Moving back to the Ring of Champions, though. Forte.
Yes, Forte.
Well, actually, what else more can we say about him? I mean, he is the token secret final boss.
Omega, GS, XX, SP,
whatever
EX.
Suffix he takes, you're in for a fight.
You're in for a fight, and it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt, and that's it. And it's done.
Or whether it's a game where he's wearing an aura or a barrier of some sort or not, it doesn't matter. You're going to be dancing around the block unless you have absolutely cheesed your folder so that you can pull off the program advance that you need in on the first turn.
Pretty much.
EXE2 Bodyguard.
And this leads us to
honorary slot number 2, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Number 12 on our list.
Number 12.
Yes, someone more ridiculous than Forte. Someone that is absolutely impossible to defeat in a net battle.
Is this the last one? We don't have any more after this, right?
This is indeed the last one. I don't think we can get any more ridiculous than this.
No, you can't. Alright, I'll break. You can have the honors.
Ladies and gentlemen, hardest boss ever, Glide EXE.
Oh man, I hate fighting Glide. He's so difficult.
Dude, you cannot defeat Glide. It is impossible.
No.
There is no attack that you can fling at Glide that will do anything to him.
No, because he spends too much of the time in the air. I mean, you can't...
It is a literal impossibility to even cause damage to him.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. I mean, that attack that he uses, you can't dodge it.
What was it, Glide Flash or...
Glide Cannon, I think. And then he's got the bird bots. Oh man. Those are tough.
We couldn't hold that. We couldn't hold that.
We couldn't. No, I'm sorry.
Granted, it is a literal impossibility to be able to damage him with any attack.
I think someday Mega Man is going to wake up and realize there's still one empty grave in the graveyard and realize he hasn't killed everybody yet.
And then he'll go hunting for Glide.
Exactly. And at that point, they'll have to put Glide in cold storage or something, and Mega Man will still find a way to hack the lock.
You realize that if he actually does manage to rip Glide's soul unison out of his body, then it's just going to be like Glide Team style all over again from the anime?
Pretty much, yes.
Sadness. Ultimate sadness.
Totally sad.
But regardless, that's our top 10 in no particular order list of the most irritating EXE bosses ever.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming and listening to us rant tonight, and we apologize if we've offended anybody.
But at the same time, we really don't, because these, kind of are our opinions. We're entitled to them, and you're entitled to disagree.
Absolutely, but if you disagree on our forum, it will be considered a act of hostility, and if you disagree on a different forum, then you owe us our firstborn, and any babies that are not ripe and plump will be subject to Burnination by the Trogdor Act of 1994.
And if you diss us in public, of course, just keep an eye over your shoulder. There's
prepare to be punched out. Yeah,
with flaming ninja crowbars.
Absolutely, flaming ninja crowbar panels. An Anbu member will be there to smack you in the face,
or not. We're kind of having troubles with the contract negotiations.
Absolutely. Well, we've got 1 minute left, Breakman. Any final words or song lyrics?
All assery aside, I did kind of want to throw out a couple of random yet slightly themed trivia questions. We discussed this earlier, remember?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, got a couple of trivia questions. If you get them right, good for you. We really don't have any prizes, but just something to research at least.
What he means
the series is
too cheap.
The EXE series is all but dead. Might as well just squeeze some fun out of it. Squeeze a little bit more fun out of it. See how much you can remember.
Here we go.
First question: what battle chip does the virus Octon drop when defeated? Think about that. You could.
And question number 2:
what exclusive style change is obtained in Rockman EXE 3 Black?
If you know the answers, send us a PM or post a reply in the iLaserbeams thread.
Exactamundally, and at this point there's really nothing much else to say, so I'm going to go ahead and say good night, folks. And again, thanks for coming by and listening to us, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed making it.
Absolutely, and we hope to see you next time for more iLasery goodness.
Same time and channel and Batman.
Absolutely. I'm Batman.
And I can breathe in space.
Dun 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 dun.
Lols.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.